What if I told you a lie? Okay, now what if I pushed back on an objective truth, not due to ignorance or not being studied up on this particular thing, but because I was a bad actor that genuinely had hate in my heart for you? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the story of today. That is the story of the agenda against Lamine Yamal. At the start of this season's Champions League draw, football fans sat on the edge of their seats awaiting the fate of their respective clubs, Barcelona included. Once the draw was finalized, opposition supporters were surprised to see that FC Barcelona had been handed a relatively easy path to the knockout stages. Yes, we were set to face Chelsea and PSG, but neither club was viewed as untouchable. Barcelona were coming off of a semi-final exit the previous season, and Chelsea hadn't even qualified for the competition the year before, and so the games commenced. But once they did, an issue began to arise. Barcelona was struggling to find something that was present not too long ago. In fact, they had this very thing in their grasp just last season. But what was this elusive item? The truth is, it isn't an item at all, but a result, or rather, a culmination of results. A crucial quality for any successful club: consistency. And while Barcelona did finish in the top 8, many of Europe's biggest clubs were quick to point out a supposed pattern. Every defeat came against elite opposition. The question then became, who was to blame? Was it Hansi Flick, the captains, the veteran in the squad?
Nope.
Instead, much of Europe decided to pin the blame on an 18-year-old. And that is how the idea for this video spawned. That is where the agenda against Lamine Yamal began. Not only was he blamed for the losses, but opposition fans started pushing the narrative that he can't compete against big clubs. I'm here to say the truth. I'm here to say those niggas are yapping a yap. Straight bullshit is coming out of their mouth. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Every Champions League loss this season stemmed from collective team failures or circumstances entirely outside of the teenagers' control. Shocking, I know, oh my god. Against PSG, Barcelona were missing key players like Rafinha, Fermin, Joan Garcia, Gavi, who had found a stretch of good form after his recovery. Those absences weakened our attack, our ability to move from the midfield into the attacking third, and they also compromised the team's ability to keep a clean sheet. Despite his limited goal contributions, Lamine actually still delivered a strong performance. He finished the match with a 7.6 rating, second only to the man of the match at 7.8, meaning statistically speaking, he was the second best player on the pitch. And I want to remind you, that's out of 22 men on the pitch in total. Against Chelsea, Barcelona were forced to play with 10 men for the most of the match after a stupid decision by Araujo just before halftime. And because of that red card, our entire approach to the game had to change, and we pretty much had to go into damage control, and it limited our attacking options. Even under those conditions, Lamine still held a 7.1 rating, ranking 6th overall out of the 22 players involved, once again. And then there's the most absurd claim of all, that he ghosted against Real Madrid. I want to make this very clear. Lamine Yamal has shit on Real Madrid more than any other major club in Europe he's faced. In the most recent Copa del Rey final, he played a decisive role in delivering Barcelona their first silverware of the season. He recorded an 8.1 rating, higher than every Real Madrid player on the pitch except for Vinicius Jr, who had to literally score a solo goal to get his match rating equal with Lamine. Lamine was also subbed off of the pitch purely for tactical reasons after Frenkie de Jong received a red card and Araujo was brought on to see the game out. And the crazy part is I didn't even speak about last season. He literally shit on Bayern, Dortmund, Atletico, Madrid, and Inter Milan last season. That Inter Milan performance is arguably the best non-GA performance we've seen at this club post-Messi. In an interview, Simeone Inzaghi, who was the manager of Inter Milan at the time, was caught labeling Lamine as a breed of players that are phenomenons born every 50 years. He even went on to say that he had to put 3 players on him. But yeah guys, I was getting super pissed about this idiotic big clubs agenda against Lamine Yamal. We've seen him perform against them time and time again, but because Barca as a whole had a bad run versus 2 to 3 clubs for reasons outside of him, all of a sudden he's not world class according to Twitter rage baiters. The point of this video is to remind everyone to watch football with your eyes. Don't just look at a scoreline with no context and then jump to a conclusion. Last season they said Lamine didn't score goals in quantity against smaller clubs, and while he scored and performed against big opposition, the numbers just weren't there in quantity. This season, the numbers are there against smaller clubs, but now it's stat padding and he can't compete against big clubs, even though we watched him do that very thing last season. Anyway guys, let me know your thoughts on the situation in the comments down below, and I'll respond. As always, I've been Gex Dead. Have a good day, night, whatever you're having, have a good one, and I'll see you boys in the next video. I'm out.